right, everyone. Today we're going to be processing all this okra that was gifted to us in 3 different ways. We're going to be doing some freezing for frying later, some canning for frying later, and some pickled okra. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we got all of that okra cut up except for what I want to pickle for pickled okra. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get, but we will see. And we're about to get into it. First of all, I'm going to process the pickled okra first, and then we're going to come back and can this, what we can of it, for frying later on. And then if we have any extra that I don't have enough to can, I'll freeze it. But yeah, so we're getting into that. First of all, we're going to get everything ready and going so that we can get this pickled okra going. All right, everyone. So I got my water bath canner on the stove, getting hot. So we've got to wait for this to heat up. I'm going to put the lid on it because that'll help it heat up faster. I've got my lids back here on real low. I'm going to get the water hot and just keep them hot and ready to go once I get the jars packed and ready to process. And first we're going to make the brine for the pickled okra, and then we'll be making the brine for the sliced okra that we will be using for canning later. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna put the camera up on the tripod so I can work, and so I'll see y'all back in a second. All right, everyone, I just want to say, let me let the dishwasher quit beeping. I just want to say I'm not a canning expert. You can, to your heart's desire. This is just what I'm doing. And I'm not telling you how to can or, whatever. This is just me and my personal preference and how I'm doing it. So I just wanted to say that first. And now we're going to go ahead and making the brine for the pickled okra first, for the whole okra that I'm pickling. And so yeah, we're going to get that going. I've got the jars. They've already been washed, and I run them through the dishwasher. So they're hot and ready to go. So I'm going to leave them in there until I get ready to use them. And so we're going to get started making the brine over here. So I'm going to move y'all in a little closer, and we're going to get into it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour out the recipe that I'm using. I have reduced because I don't have enough to do the whole recipe. So I'm halving it. I'm probably going to have some extra, but that's all right too. And it calls for a cup of salt, canning salt, non-iodized salt, basically. So I'm going to do a half a cup since I'm halving the recipe. And I'm going to grab the vinegar because we need vinegar and we need water. And when you're using vinegar, make sure that it's 5% acidity. When you're canning anything, it needs to have at least 5%. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 5%. So first of all, I'm going to get the cup of water, and then we're going to do a quart of vinegar. Okay, so we need 4 cups of vinegar. That will equal 1 quart. right. Now we're going to pour in our salt and stir it up good. And I'll be back in a moment. All right, so everyone, I'm just waiting for this to come up to a simmer. And then I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer for 10 minutes before I fill my jars. I also need to get the lid on the canner so it can get heating up, because we'll have to process those for 10 minutes. Like I said, you know, you do you. This is just how I'm doing it. We want everything to be clear and dissolved. We want the salt to dissolve. Alright, the water is pretty clear, but now we just need to bring it up to a simmer and let it simmer for 10 minutes. So I will bring y'all back when we get to that point to start the clock. Alright, so it's starting to simmer, so we're going to set our timer for 10 minutes and let this simmer for 10 minutes, and then we'll be ready to pack our jars and get this in there and get them ready to go in the canner. All right, everyone, you can hear the timer going off. So this has been simmering for 10 minutes. So I'm going to get the jars out and we're going to get them packed and then into the canner, because we will not be using the canner for the second process. But I may put the empty jars inside the canner to keep them warm and to keep the other ones from banging around and knocking each other around in there while it's processing. So, I'm going to get the jars ready, and okay, I have 2 jars here. I'm going to add a teaspoon of dill seed to this pint. And I'm not going to add them to the quart just yet to make sure I have enough for it, because I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough. So I'm just going to start packing. I think I might. But I want to pack as many as I can get
into this jar.
And I've tried to select the smallest that I can. And I think that's probably all we are going to be able to get into this one. I'm going to rinse this one off. Set it to the side. We can get, okay, we got one more down in there. And I do believe we're going to have enough for this other one. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons to that one, since it's a quart jar. All right, and I'm going to start packing it.
With okra.
And I would have liked to do all these in pints, but I don't have any more pint jars at the moment. So quarts it is, because I need to get this processed. Don't want them to waste. These were gifted to us and greatly appreciated, because I love okra, and so does some of my other family, especially fried okra. It's one of our favorite ways, but I love it anyway, to be honest. And like I did over there, I'm just trying to pack it in as much as I can.
So that we can get as much in there as possible.
Cannot wait to try it. I'm so excited. This is the first time I'm canning okra. I love it. I love canned okra or pickled okra. But I've never done it, so I'm excited. I've always wanted to. I think I'm going to be able to get the rest of this in here. Yes, and that's all I have, so that's perfect. So what I'm going to do now is start filling it up with liquid, and then we're going to get the lids or the rings wiped off and get the lids on, and then get them into the canner. So let me grab the funnel because I don't want to make a mess. I have kept this going because I want it to be hot. It's not boiling. I'm leaving about 1 inch of head space. All right. Now I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to wipe the rims. With vinegar. To make sure there's nothing on it that will get in the way. Okay, get the rings on there. Just not tight, just finger tight. And let's see if our canner is ready. It is not quite ready, but I'm going to put these in there and let it come on up to boil, and then I will start the timer because I'm going to have to add a little more water because we want to make sure all the jars are covered. I'm going to grab the other jars and put them in here to keep from them knocking around too much. And that way they'll be good and hot when we're ready to use them. To can the other okra, which we will not need to water back can. Alright, and that's all my canner will hold. I have one more jar ready if need be. So we're going to bring that up to boil and then let that boil for 10 minutes, boiling straight, and then we will bring them out. And I'm going to stop it right here and get this cleaned up so that we can get ready to start canning our okra for frying. Alright y'all, so it's boiling, so we're going to go ahead and start our timer for 10 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set up and we're going to get started getting this other ready. So I'm going to turn you around. Alright, so I've got 3.5 cups of water in here already, and now we're going to add 3/4 tablespoon of salt. So I've got a 1/2 tablespoon here, and there we go. And then I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of vinegar. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got our 4 tablespoons of vinegar and our 3/4 tablespoon of salt and our water in here. And now we're going to bring this to a boil. And then we will, once it comes to a boil, we're going to add our 2 quarts of chopped okra to it. So I'll be back in a moment when it comes to a boil. Alright y'all, so you can see we got a boil going, so we're going to add our 2 quarts of sliced okra into the water. Try not to make a move. Alright, and now we're going to let that boil, come back to a boil and boil for 8 minutes. So I'll bring you back once it starts boiling again. Well, I'll just bring you back once it's been boiled for 8 minutes. I wanted to let you know I was letting it boil with the lid on so that all the water doesn't evaporate, all the liquid doesn't evaporate, because we're going to need that for our jars. Alright everyone, so the time is up, so we're going to turn that off and we're going to open this up and go ahead and get these out. I'm going to take that lid off. Be very careful. I'm going to set them over here so that they can cool. Right over here on the counter so they can cool and seal. We'll make sure they seal properly. I went ahead and cut that off because we will not be processing these. They're almost done. They got 3 minutes left of cooking, and then we're going to start getting them in the jars and getting them. I'll show you how we're going to do those. Alright everyone, so the timer is up. So I'm going to get, oh, did you hear one seal? We're going to get a jar out. This water is very hot, so be very careful. Now we're going to leave it boiling. While we take the okra out. We don't want to pack the okra. So, all right, now what we want to do is get some liquid. since we're not reprocessing this. I'm just not sure this is gonna be enough liquid. So we're gonna have to make some more brine. So what I'm gonna do is get the other jar out so I can get these out and go ahead and make some more brine real quick, because the recipe called for 2 quarts of okra, but I believe it was 2 quarts of okra instead of 2. I mean, you end up with 2 quarts of okra. Maybe I wasn't supposed to use 2 to start with. So we adapt and overcome. Brine going, and what I'm gonna do is try, because I'm gonna have to get out a few of these because we got too many. And hope there's no liquid left, so we'll have to make some more brine, but that's no problem. We're gonna get that going real quick so that we can get these sealed up properly. All right, everyone. So we're gonna bring it to a rolling boil, and then get this one filled up and the lid on it, because it's already halfway full of liquid. So we need to get it covered so that it can seal properly. So but yeah, we're gonna finish filling this up so that we can get this sealed, hopefully. And while this is going, I'm gonna add another cup full of okra and let it cook for 8 minutes like we did the other, because this one is not full. So for this, we're going to wipe the rim and the ring. And I don't believe we got any air bubbles, but we're going to make sure. Okay, and then I'm going to wipe that ring back off one more time with this vinegar on this towel. Alright, I'm going to get the lid on this. We're going to set our timer for 8 minutes. Alright, and I'm going to get the lid for this. And you want it to be tight so that it'll seal. All right, we're gonna set it to the side and hope that this one seals. If it doesn't, I will have to cook it very soon. But and I might have to, because it did sit here, and hopefully it didn't get too cold. But trying to use the wrong end. I'm gonna move it to the back here and wait and watch to see if it in this jar might have the same problem. I'm hoping it'll stay warm close over here. Hopefully it will, so that we don't have to end up cooking both of them. But I want to show you the third way that I plan on processing this okra, and that is by freezing it. And the way I'm going to get it ready and prep for freezing is I'm going to preheat the oven to 300 and let it cook for 3 minutes in the preheated oven, just to warm it up. That helps preserve the enzymes, and then we'll get it into some vacuum bags and get it vacuum sealed and put in the freezer. But I'll be back in a moment and we'll see what's next. Alright, so time's up. So I'm going to cut this down. And we're going to get the rest of this okra in this jar. And hopefully we can get it all in there. I'm not packing it. I'm just getting it. I feel like maybe I should double the liquid recipe for 2 quarts. So maybe that's what I'll do for the next batch. Cut that off. Get the air bubbles. Wish I had a little more liquid in there, but I think it will be all right. I think I got the air bubbles out. So let's get a lid. Get that right. Okay. Oh, where's my towel? Don't know. All right, and we're gonna set this one to the side. And let it cool and see if it seals. All right, so I've got my cookie sheet out and I've got a piece of parchment paper on it, and I'm gonna line this pan and this parchment paper with okra. And when our oven is preheated to 300 degrees, we're gonna cook it for 3 minutes, and then we're gonna put it in bags, and we're going to use it's like a food saver thing, a vacuum sealer thing. We're going to use it to vacuum seal it and get it ready for the freezer. So I'll be back in a moment to show you what it looks like once I get the okra on here. All right, so we got the okra on here, and as soon as the oven beeps and lets me know it's preheated, I'm going to go ahead and get this in there because I'm trying to get this done because we have something else to do here in just a little while. So I will see y'all back after the 3 minutes. All right, so I just pulled the first okra out of the oven. I've got my bag here. I'm going to start putting it in so that we can get it vacuum sealed. I need to get another batch going. I think I have one more batch for the oven. Now you can separate this into smaller bags, smaller size bags, but usually when I fix it, I fix a good bit, so I'm not concerned about that. And I can always cook 2 batches, one day and one the next, because having fried okra in the wintertime is going to be a treat. And I'm so excited, I can't wait to try it. The frozen and the canned, to see which way, that tastes the best. So I'm going to leave this sitting here for just a second, and I'm going to get another batch going. I'm going to get that vacuum sealed because we've got to get this other ready to go into jars here in a moment. Get that spread out. All right, and we're going to get this in the oven and let that cook for 3 more minutes. And I'll see y'all back in a moment. Alright, so we got our last batch out of the oven, so I'm going to go ahead and get it vacuum sealing. Alright, so there's one. I think that this vacuum sealer was a great investment. I know you probably can't hear me well right now, but it really does make your stuff last longer in the freezer because it gets every little bit of that air out. So I think it's definitely worth the money. And I got this one off of Amazon, I think, and I don't think it was very much at all, like maybe $20 or something. So I'm gonna unplug that and let it cool. We're gonna get these, let these lay here and cool a little bit, and we're gonna get them in the freezer and get our jars. We got them sitting over here so that they can, oh, there went another pop. So one of them popped. So I'll bring y'all back later when we get back from doing our other stuff, and we'll see if they've all sealed. So I'll see y'all then. Well, everyone, so this is what we ended up with, and they are all sealed. We got back from church, and they're sealed. They're still too hot to put away yet, so I'm just going to let them sit out overnight. I'm going to go ahead and write on the tops of them, and then I'll put them away in the morning when they're cool. But yep, they sealed, so I'm super excited about that. I'll see y'all later.